beautiful flow of balance and gorgeousness and beauty and all that. First of all, do you like my background? It's so nice, yeah? Hey guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Shishi, also known as SHISHI WANJ. I'm so happy that you're back and I hope that you enjoyed this video. So today's topic is based on how I stay centered and connected. Kama kawaida, notebook. The first one is using my senses, and I call this self-soothing. So we all have 5 senses, yeah. Of course, we got a 6th sense. You know the vibes. Using all the senses is, let's see, hearing, sight, smell, touch, taste. Are those all of them? Those are all 5 of them. Self-soothing is one of like the top ways that I stay connected to myself, because it's like feeding myself, it's like nurturing myself, it's like giving myself the things that I want. And I use my senses in such a broad way. Obviously, I'm a DJ, so music is one of the most sensory, most healing, most forms of connection I can use to reconnect and connect with myself. When I'm sad, I listen to sad music. When I'm happy, I listen to happy music. When I'm angry, I listen to angsty music. When I feel like dancing, and even the opposite, like if I feel like if I've woken up, like yesterday I woke up and the first thing that popped into my head was existential dread, and I was like, wow, it's Monday, how can I wake up with such like negative thoughts? So what I did instead was, there was a song that was stuck in my head for like 3 or 4 days. So I looked for it, I didn't find it. Then I called my homie and he told me the name of the song. And like when I had that song, like literally my spirits just like they changed. And you know, when songs stay in your head, sometimes it's like a message, or they're like words that you need to hear, either like words to yourself or words from others or whatever. Basically, I feel like using your senses is like listening to your body. So I listen to my body a lot. If I'm hungry, I'll eat. If I'm not hungry, I won't eat. Like, as I've grown older and I've become the person that I am today, I usually either eat very many small meals or 2 big meals. When I wake up, I don't usually eat immediately I wake up. The same way my brain is waking up is the same way the rest of my body needs to wake up. And I take long to wake up. It takes me like a good 2 hours for me to fully wake up. Even though I've showered and like gotten out of the house or whatever, it takes me like a full 2 to 3 hours, to be honest, for my body to fully wake up. So usually I'll start by drinking like some green tea or coffee, depending on the day and what I was doing the day before. So I do that, and then by the time I'm eating, it's probably gonna be like noon or even the afternoon, because I get so caught up in my morning routine and actually, you know what? I'll do another morning routine video. I don't feel like I need to say that because that's gonna take so long. But yeah, basically I listen to my body, I use my senses. I love the aroma of things when I wake up in the morning or even any time of the day. Like, I love the smell of fresh herbs. I love the smell of, since we're talking about centering yourself, I really wouldn't necessarily use music to distract myself. I'll use it to connect to my thought process and my emotions and how I'm feeling. So like I said, if I'm sad, I listen to sad music. If I'm happy, I listen to happy music. But if I want to shift my energy from like how I was feeling and want to feel another way, like I feel like people only do that either when they're angry or when they're sad. You put happier music. I will do that. It's like communicating with yourself. Like having a board meeting with yourself is so important. I do that all the time. Sometimes you have to look at yourself objectively. If I was another person watching myself, how would I judge this situation, my actions, my words, and things that I'm doing? I do that a lot. Sometimes our internal worlds and external worlds are not the same. Most of the time, actually, they're not the same, but they should be, or at least they should at least be majority be the same, you know. I can also understand when thought process is mine, or when I've been triggered, for example, and I'm like, hold up, where are these negative thoughts coming from? Whose voice is this am I hearing? Is it my authentic self that I'm listening to, or is it from someone else? Is it something that someone told me, or something that I just like heard at a point? Is it something that I digested while I was watching something that I think stayed in my psyche and that has made me believe that I am behaving this way? Another one is reading and writing. English 101. Reading, because it keeps me in tune with my imagination. I'm a very imaginative person, and it's easy for me to picture a situation. That's why I can give things direction. Like if I can't picture it, you're not giving me a good enough story, you know. Being able to read those words and immerse myself into a world, because ironically, as much as I'm entering this fantasy world, it keeps my like creativity and like my imagination sharp. You know, that imagination that kids usually have, whereby they can look at something and the perspective is so different from what you're seeing, because as an adult you've been tainted by the world, but a child's innocence and imagination is still so pure. I feel like the more you read, the better you're journaling, because you know how to express yourself by words. For me personally, I've always been the type of person who expresses themselves through letters and notes and texts and those type of things. I just got over my phone call anxiety last year, because 2020 we were in lockdown, and like I had to call my friends and had to let my friends call me. You know, when you read something and you can picture it, you can also just naturally picture something and write down about it. I feel like those things keep me in tune as a creative, as a writer, as someone who likes visual direction, visualization. When I picture what my life looks like, or what I would want my life to look like, or even things like an outfit, man, doesn't have to be that deep. For example, a concert, or if I'm going for a dinner or a family function, or you know, like I like to look nice all the time. You know, you gotta stay fly. Obviously, I just always dress according to my mood, and that's another thing. Visual aids are so helpful. You can create like a mood board in your mind. Meditation, like sitting in silence, sitting alone with my thoughts. I feel like so many people are scared of sitting alone with their thoughts just to like hear what the fuck is going on in my mind is always very interesting, because it's like, is this my thought process? Or if I'm like digesting the day, let's say I've come from today, I've been creating content the whole day, yeah. So I start my days with meditation and end them with meditation. Sometimes either or, sometimes both, sometimes none. You know, sometimes life is crazy and I just want to black out, you know. I learned that sitting alone with my thoughts will always help me decipher which ones are mine and which ones have come from another source. Like what I said in the other point, it's like talking to yourself, but instead of talking, you're listening. I feel like listening to your thoughts is very important, and you have to also let like those negative thoughts come into your mind, as shocking as they can be. And I can have some very dark and twisted thoughts, but you have to have no judgment of whatever thoughts come into my mind, because sometimes it can be from something that you saw, from something that you had, they don't even belong to you. Listening to your thoughts helps us decipher what's yours and what's not yours, and what is yours. Sometimes you need to realize like the negative or the positive as well patterns that you have. I'm big on self-affirmations, so sometimes even when I'm just like meditating and sitting in silence, my method usually is I sit, and then I always start with gratitude for like the day and whatever has happened and the things that I've learned and the things that I'm yet to learn and stuff like that. And after the gratitude, I like just now sit and I'm like, okay, what thoughts in my mind? And you live and hear like songs that you've heard, an episode of a show you've watched, someone's laughter, someone crying, a dog barking, a color, a plant, things that you saw. I always see it like a show reel, you know, like a show reel, the way it moves. That's how I always like see it. So when it passes by and then finally, you know, it eventually starts to slow down, and I'm like, okay, the thoughts are like slower and they've gone, and now I'm like, okay, I can actually now feel like I'm connected to myself. Like the chaff, I always call it the chaff is gone. I can feel myself. I don't know how to explain it, but you feel aligned with yourself, whereby it's like a revision. This was today, this was this week, this was this weekend, this one was mine, this one came from this person, this and this. So I know what to keep and what to take away, basically. I feel like that's what meditation is. Meditation also keeps my mind's eye open. Once again, visualization. Like I said, the way I see show reels when I close my eyes, that's with my mind's eye, you know. If your inner child is wounded, and a lot of people's mine has been too, probably still is low-key, but we've been working. Basically, take care of your inner child. Your inner child is someone who can just make jokes, or spontaneous, or has fun, or knows how to make fun, is imaginative and uses their mind's eye, plays around, or just, you know, does some skip to Malu or some cartwheels just like randomly. You know, keeping the inner child connected is so important, and that is one of the things that really keeps me in tune. I know, like for me and all the types of friends that I have, I feel like we're so connected to our inner children. Because have you ever had that moment where you're with your friends and it feels like you're back at the playground when you're a kid? If you don't, I would encourage you to do that. One thing I really value about the relationships that I have in my life currently is that we're able to be like kids with each other. And I don't mean childish. Childish is different. We don't like childish behavior. We're too grown for that. I'm talking about childlike having like those moments of laughter where you laugh so much and you're like, man, you know what, I love these people so much. Or when you're doing like the most random shit and you're like, I didn't think anyone would want to do this with me, but you guys are doing this with me. Fantastic. It's just like that childlike innocence and curiosity, vulnerability too, just keeping the inner child alive and excited and happy. And in this world, it's hard not to be wounded or less bruised. And shadow work is a topic for another day, but shadow work is definitely one of those things that I do a lot to keep myself centered. And one of the methods of shadow work is journaling and connecting to those things that you used to enjoy when you were a kid before someone told you that you couldn't do them. Being vulnerable, pushing through the uncomfortable situations to get back to that warm, fuzzy feeling that you used to have inside. Yeah, still even on that meditation point, there's visualization, there's listening to your thoughts, and then there's being present. I forced myself to learn how to meditate maybe like 6 years ago because my mind can easily have 67 tabs open at the same time. It's just the way my brain works. I don't know if I have ADHD or whatever. I'm not sure. I've not been diagnosed and I won't self-diagnose myself. But I'm the type of person who has 78, 131 tabs open in my mind. And that can easily drive you crazy. So staying present while decluttering the brain, like listening to nature right now. Like right now I'm in this pure silence. I'm at the veranda and I'm just listening to like the trees like swaying and the birds chirping, and I'm feeling the sun. I hate guided meditation. I hate it so much. Maybe it's their voices, but for me, guided meditation is listening to my atmosphere. Like I'd rather listen to those ocean waves and binaural beats to help me meditate than listen to someone telling me breathe once, breathe twice, that type of thing. But everyone is different, so hearing, that's another sense. Oh yeah, nature, of course, since I'm talking about trees and the sun and the beach. If you live by the beach, I'm so jealous. Going for walks really, 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 really fucking helps. It could be a walk, a jog, a swim, or a bicycle run. Everyone is different. I hate running. You'll never find me running for leisure. Never. I hate it. I grew up as a swimmer and I didn't realize until like I was way older. Like I think when I was about 22 or 21, I was like, wow, swimming actually was therapy for me, and I had no idea because it's a workout, but it's also therapeutic. If you're a swimmer, if you've ever been a swimmer, or if you've ever been in that intense swimming where you're doing laps for days, or if you're the type of person who can spend like hours in the ocean like me, mermaid life, you realize that once again you turn into this meditative state where you're listening to yourself and your body and your thoughts, thinking about your day, reflecting and giving yourself solutions or noticing your problems and seeing and feeling through things and emotions and thoughts. Whatever activity that you choose, for me it's swimming and walking, really, really, really helps. And I feel like when you're alone it's better because personally I'm not trying to stack a bigger story, but you can go with maybe 2 people or 1. If you have a partner, highly recommend for you to go on walks with your partner. It's so therapeutic. When I'm having conflict with someone, and I started doing this in high school because I was trying to high school. In high school, whenever I'd have like an issue with my friends, or if my friends have an issue with me, I'm the type of person who will try salvage the friendship before calling it quits. So how we would resolve our problems, let's say if I'm the one who has to reach out, something scary. I would write a note and a letter and be like, hi, I feel this way. Please, could we talk about it? Then hopefully, they respond if, you value my friendship that much, if you value our friendship. And then what we would do, would go for walks in the field and talk about it, whether it's a basketball court or the field. And this mostly used to happen on Saturdays because I was in boarding school, man. Saturday is only free time, especially if you're in different classes. Saturday was the only free time for you guys to actually talk, Saturday and Sunday. So I'd go around into the field or do wholesome things like, I don't know, oil each other's hairs, we talk, washing clothes, like those type of activities whereby cleaning is very therapeutic. If there's one thing I will do, I will tidy up and this around my place. It makes me feel there's center, there's space. I hate clutter. Clutter makes me so uncomfortable. So we used to go for walks, and by the time the walk is over, whether it ended on good terms, it'll end on good terms most of the time because it's such a wholesome thing that you've done. Let's say there's no conclusion, or you decide to end your friendship, or there's still conflict. There's a way that having a walk makes you feel better. you connect with yourself, and if you're with someone, it's a very intimate moment. All these things where you're using your senses. I feel like when you go for walks, you're using your eyes, you're using your ears, you're using touch, like to touch, like if you're like me, like I like touching like flowers and plants and smelling them, and like, you know, you're basking in the sun, that's also like touch, or feeling the crunch of like the leaves. I love like when I go for walks at Karura or Ololua or whatever nature trail, I like stepping and hearing the crunch of the leaves, and it makes me so happy. But yeah, being alone together, I advocate for that. I'm an Aquarius moon. Being alone together is like my philosophy. If you can be alone together, that's beautiful. So if you must do it with someone, I'd recommend you do it with your partner, your best friend, your siblings, or a relationship that you value, you know, just like your homie. You know, going for walks is just a very intimate thing that I believe helps us stay connected with ourselves and with each other. Yeah. Yoga. Man, I tie in yoga and meditation together as well as working out, because I just feel like, I don't want to say they're all the same thing, but to me, I feel like they're the same thing the way that I do it, because stretches are something I have to do every day. I'm tall, my limbs get knotted, so if I'm not doing yoga, it's dancing. Yoga is like, I saw this definition on Instagram yesterday whereby a kid was asked, what do you think yoga is? And the kid responded, it's when people take deep breaths and do slow karate poses. I was like, that's so beautiful. You know, that childlike way of thinking that's literally what it is. You know, yoga once again is a way to listen to your body. When you meditate and when you practice yoga often enough, you'll be able to feel, unclench your jaw, unclench your shoulders, you know, unclench all your limbs, and you can feel those points in which you're tight, and that's a way of listening to your body. And yoga is basically unknotting yourself, and doing those stretches is like breathing in and releasing all those things that you don't need, and you'll know what kind of exercises that you need to do. When you nurture your body, you nurture your whole being. And like I said in another video, once you start with the spiritual, I believe the rest trickle down, you know. Or when you start at one point, rather, it can always go to like another point. I believe that energy points where something is tight is connected to an emotion. Listening to your body and feeling those knots where they are, and unknotting yourself and feeling what more you can do, and even finding out what emotion is connected to what. And not all the time, Mati, it's connected to an emotion. Sometimes you just slept badly, you know, and you have a stiff neck or a back, and you squeezed yourself somewhere, and you're just in an uncomfortable situation. But a lot of the times, our pains are connected to deficiencies in our body. You get what I'm saying? Like, when you pay attention to your body, you stay in tune with yourself, because I feel like our bodies appreciate when we listen to them. It's because for hair, skin, internal, external, whatever, you know. When I'm super, super anxious, the top of my neck always feels so tight. And sometimes I don't know when I'm anxious, but when I feel that tightness, I'm like, oh, fuck, okay, so what I am is anxious. Or if I'm angry, I'll have like I haven't been angry in such a long time, I'm not gonna lie. But I feel like when I'm angry, there's also an energy point that I usually feel, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is anger. It's the same when I'm feeling bliss, I feel like my heart literally opens. I don't know if you guys ever feel that way, but like when you're in a state of bliss and you're so happy, and your heart chakra is just like green and just like open, it's like unconditional love. You can also feel those things, you know. We all have energy points and beyond. So yeah, so exercise and yoga I'd highly recommend. Cleansing my space, I cleanse my own self. If I feel like I'm a bad vibe, and everyone can be a bad vibe, you know, and you can be a bad vibe to yourself. I'm big on sage, incense, rosemary. I wish I could find juniper. I feel like juniper smells really good. Palo Santo is also really hard to find, but even you can make sprays. I have a spray, my emergency spray. It's made out of orange peels, and then you boil it and then you mix it. It's just very citrusy, and what citrus does is that it opens up spaces. It makes it feel, they call it air freshener for a reason. You see me? I'm not saying use air freshener to cleanse your space. If I've had people over, the first thing I do is sage the house. If I have been outside for too long, I sage myself. And even sometimes if I have negative emotions and thoughts, after I've purged it out, whether it's by writing it down or crying or venting or whatever it is that I've done, I also sage myself to let those energies go away. And I'm not gonna lie, before I used to be like, smoke is not gonna do that, but honestly it really does. Like, sage opens up atmospheres in such a crazy way. All those different things have different purposes. They say sage is for clearing out energies. They say Palo Santo is for like smoothing out energies. Rosemary is like for protection. So you do your research, because I'm not a shaman, I'm not a guru. Choose the one that works for you. But for me, cleansing my space really comes through. And energy can be so sticky, especially if you're like an empath. When you're an empath, you're like a sponge, so you just like absorb. If you lack boundaries, even sometimes when your boundaries like a bit, because you can't having boundaries all the time is having a wall, and like walls is not what we want. We just want healthy boundaries, you know. But when you're an empath, things tend to stick onto you. So when you cleanse your space, even a simple meditation is enough to cleanse yourself. I do meditative baths and meditative showers, and even like a whole self-care day. There's a reason self-care includes so much of cleaning. You know, you cleanse your face, you do your nails, you scrub your feet, you do like a whole body scrub, you exfoliate. There's a reason you're cleaning out so much. So those rituals really do help me stay centered. I have this rosemary next to me. I love the smell of rosemary. I love the smell of flowers, cinnamons, vanilla smells so good. You'll never find me smelling bad. And I like people who smell good. Aroma is something that I am very sensitive to, and I cook with my nose. I mean, my throat also, but also like with my nose. And cooking is such a beautiful practice also for me that helps me stay centered, because I'm feeding my body what it wants. It's a way of expressing myself without losing sight of who I am, you know. So cooking is top. And you know, cooking again with smelling, and then again with seeing, because the food has to look beautiful, it has to smell good, it has to taste nice. The conclusion is listening to my body and using my senses, whether it's 5 or 6 of them. Yeah, so intuition, that's the 6th sense. Let's not cap. Everybody has intuition. Just because they didn't teach us in school doesn't mean we're not intuitive, you know. School doesn't know everything. School just wants you to get grades and then enter the system, and then you know how the system goes. But my conclusion is sight, visual aids. Pinterest is the truth. Hearing is music, binaural beats, beach sounds, ocean waves, streams of water. Those things really come through. Sometimes people's voices are beautiful enough to calm us down. Do that phone call, send a voice note, tell them to send you a voice note. Touch soft things. I like soft clothes. I'm very affectionate, so if I feel like I can't touch you and you're my person, I don't think there's a point of us being together, you know. Even simple things like holding hands, or you know, there's those cute little intimate moments of touch. Especially if touch is one of your love languages, I'd highly recommend using touch as a way to stay centered with yourself. It's beautiful, it's wonderful, it's great. I don't think I've forgotten any. I hope not. Use all your 6 senses, and once you tap into one, you learn to tap into all the rest. You become this beautiful being of tuneness. I can't find the right word, but you get what I'm saying. So thank you for if you made it to the end of this video. I really appreciate you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed this. Sit down next time. Yeah, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. It would mean so much to me if you did. I hope this video is helping you out in one way or another. Just please let me know down in the comments if they are, because I really do enjoy making them. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Mwah. Excuse me. Yeah.